thank you all for following us and for supporting us, and see you on the next tournament.
Cool, with the Alpha 7 call out right away there. By the way, we are getting ready for the second match of the day, but we just want to take a little bit longer to get a chance to talk to you guys because, I mean, we got 2 hot drops in the first Sandhawk, Max. I wonder if we're going to be getting a little bit more hot drops here going into the first Erangel.
Theoretically, 2 could happen, right? We got one in Filter that's going to be Influence Rage versus Power. Power did already fight versus 4 Thrives in Heartin last game. I don't think they want to do 2 back-to-back. They lost versus 4 Thrives, so hopefully they can avoid that one. But the very important one here is going to be Regnum Karia versus AXTMG in Rozhok. You said, Niptura, last game, maybe they want to make a statement, start off hot, have a little bit of momentum. Do you want to hot drop as AXTMG Regnum Karia?
Absolutely not.
I thought you were going to say just absolutely. I was like,
no.
Are you crazy?
As much as I love Nongshim and Regnum Karia, 2 different breeds of cat there, especially on an Erangel, right? Sandhawk, it's all up for debate really anyway. You can drop somewhere, but it doesn't really matter. Erangel, these drops have been decided, have been practiced time and time and time again. It's just the map that is the bread and butter. So you better be really confident that you're going to win if you're going to hot drop Regnum Karia on an Erangel.
Especially Rozhok. Literally, when I think Rozhok, I think Regnum Karia. Like, it's the first team name that comes to mind. So if you're AXTMG, if you want to go there, you better have a game plan in mind, because that is not going to be an easy hot drop like early on Ruins.
I mean, if they're going to go for it, we know that they can win a hot drop. They were able to showcase it, but I want to refresh everybody's memory and just take a look at the match ranking from the first Sandhawk. So we see where everybody's currently standing. I mean, DRX coming out hot there with the win, 19 points. Yangon Galacticos, we mentioned it earlier too. Just what a massive surprise for me and Niptura, being able to just collect those 14 eliminations and then you just keep going down that list.
You do indeed, and actually I think there's a lot of teams on the top of that list, 1 game in, but that we didn't really expect to see. As you said, the Sandhawk was kind of the underdog game coming into this. I mean, Yangon Galacticos, you've got Team Vision, you've got E-Arena, I think has got a lot of hype, but not necessarily a lot of sort of backup with that. Necessarily, there's a lot of people who don't know who they are, and so I feel like they have actually come into their own.
Something to keep in mind too is look how top heavy that first match was.
Oh yeah.
Like 6 plays, you go from 10 all the way down to 4, and then you just keep going down 2 and 2. So this is something that a lot of these other teams gotta watch out, because if they do have pop-up performances, I mean, we're talking about how insane this lobby is. It showcases. If teams pop off, they definitely pop off in a massive way.
Oh, we got so many 0 points.
Yo!
Oh,
look at those.
Oh, there's the 4 teams not playing today. No, they are playing today. Please, sir, can you spare some points? We would love some at the bottom of the ranking. But it was, as you said, 7 of them, very top-heavy. Actually, we saw some decent points coming in for Team Secret and E-Arena. I had a very funny chat with all of the SEA talent lineup. And the Indonesian talent, I asked them, do you guys think there's any team from SEA that could win here at PMWC? And they instantly, I'm talking not even a second to think, all said no. They think no. They said E-Arena, maybe they could win, but they said Team Secret no, and the side of Alter Ego no. So that's quite surprising, because they have been favorites in the past, but even the local talent said it ain't happening, bro.
I mean, it does seem like it's gonna be just one of those things of we got to be able to see more from them before we start putting our faith in them.
Well, we've been talking about Sandhawk. We wanted just to do a quick little recap there on what happened and just show everybody what's happening in regards to the match ranking. But I think it's time. I think it's time we send it back to Blank and Jackie for the first Erangel.
Oh yeah, we'll run it right back, 7. No one will even know. They'll think it's the first throw. They'll think they're tuning in, ready for this, because they damn better be. The game's going to be intense, Blank. First map, first outing. It was beautiful to see. A few mistakes made for teams, and like Max alluded to, a rough start for the many. But it is the few that have been showing up here at the Esports World Cup for the Pubg Mobile World Cup in force. Beautiful eliminations, some great teamwork, but what will we be seeing here?
It's exactly what we want to have happen on our stage right now. Over on Erangel, we're going to send it back over to the old classic.
That was good, I like that.
You did?
Yeah.
That was decent.
I told you, decent foliage.
Yeah, man, I got it.
Sounds down.
But match number 2 out of 18 here right now. This is Group Red versus Yellow. So we'll have the groups shifted up a little bit tomorrow. Look at this. Down towards the south side of the map. coming from Primos all the way over towards Milter Power. Weibo Gaming down towards Primos. A really nice spot to start off in as well, to be honest with you. I think anyone that can start off in Primos on this kind of playing path does have a big advantage, especially because you could line this western coast as well, pick up a lot of vehicles, have control up towards Quarry, a massive amount of loot to have over down towards Primos. So yeah, very, very good beginning there for Weibo Gaming that have sucked over towards Sosnovka.
Yeah, quite a wide split for the scout.
That's a groin splitting split.
Yeah, I don't think like what was his name? Jean-Claude Van Damme? No.
Yeah,
Was it Van Damme?
Yeah, with the jeans,
It was Van Damme, wasn't it?
Yeah. That would be the guy. That's what we're watching here. So, Van Damme split.
Van Damme split, you're not wrong. Oh, okay, so obviously we were alluding to this a little bit. We were setting up the fact that Power could have had a bit of a drop on the Weibo, but it's not what we've seen. Instead, it's Influence Rage that are here. Actually getting a bit of their own back for Easy, who had the flank in the first map. Obviously being able to instantly get the damage out. Al-Haji, not ideal. A big man for the team, but not able to deliver on that first encounter. For Dan as well, you have eaten that nade.
Ooh. But hey, Dan, just down. And it's unfortunate to see, honestly. I think what typically happens with Aiden is that when Al-Haji goes down, he really struggles. When he's up, he plays kind of centerpiece to that role where you do need him on the off angle to support Al-Haji when he goes to those pretty insane rollouts. But yeah, now just Ragnar and Easy try and make it happen. Got the doolies.
Trying to bait on the peak. Wild spray of bullets, but teamwork's there for the close quarters engagement. It's not ideal. And again, literally the same story, bro. This is the worst outcome, right? Just Easy left alone as the solo, if he even makes it out, but everyone's gunning for him. Want to confirm the full wipe on the squad. That Power Gaming going down as effectively the first full knock in both of the maps. Elevated angle over the top, they're going to dive onto him, will eventually clean up. Took a bit of time to find it, but Easy's gone. You can get the save back onto him there. So Power out.
That's how he's chewing them. I'm so happy about it.
Success.
That's a successful push. They chew down over towards Power. I'll tell you that right now for Influence Rage. It was actually. Yeah, I think that honestly on Milter, there was no way that Easy was getting out from there. You're backing it up to where he was. It was just complete open ground. There was a couple of buildings, and they would just isolate his position, located him, targeted him fairly quickly. But it's a quick cleanup over towards Milter as well.
It was, and obviously we were kind of setting this one up with a bit of a breakdown on the split situation there. It's 4 Thrives that would be in the middle of the group reconnecting from that side if you make the late rotate in from Sosnovka. I am curious to see how we could actually end up playing over the course of this one, because of setting up the idea like, oh, there's a bit of a chance there. We'll see if Power Gaming can stuff things off better. Didn't go that way, it wasn't the storyline we got. Again, results them going down first. You've got potential as well. I think the longer these games go on, Blank, the longer the day goes on, potentially even for them. I think this is where we're going to see more and more of that team being able to deliver. There's so much talent on there. You can tip of everyone's tongue saying, oh, this could be the chance for that side of the region. They start showing up again. So I'm curious if they're showing us a bit of innovation from some of these players.
Yeah, I sort of understand it where you send Sukat down towards Sosnovka on the eventuality it is the south circle. But even then, like, you could make an efficient rotation across, and maybe it's the case where Suk in that situation just takes some pot shots over towards 4 Thrives as they make their way across the bridge, and then they can group up. But I think that the risk doesn't outweigh the reward here, honestly. It's going to be difficult to get back together. There's potential that Suk can take some vehicles, take a boat back around towards them, and by then you have delayed your rotation by a ton. For Falcons, on the other hand, no hot drop over towards there. Though my main takeaway from this game is because it's such a southern playing path, it doesn't really tell us too much about the drop spots, because these were a lot of backups being used.
Yeah, it's fair enough. It's fair enough. It's a good point to keep in mind, obviously, in terms of how it's going to affect things here. Give us some different results over the course of the day with
I was so aggressive going into the next match. So, like, do we want to drop Yasnaya?
That's what I'm saying, though. That's the awkward part, because obviously once it kind of is forgivable and it feels a bit rough and you can fix it, the second time it happens, that's when it is instantly like, we're at the halfway point of the day, boys. Like,
Yeah.
It's already creeped up on us, you know?
How do you fix this? You have to get the screwdriver and kit out, figure out where the loose screw is.
I suppose at least the only blessing, like Max was saying, there is a decent gap. If you look towards, obviously, what, 6th upwards, it's not that much of a difference with points, right? So, like, obviously, if you just actually start to build your way back in and everyone else doesn't have a crazy spread, then maybe it's not the end of the world. But the likelihood of that, obviously, has a lot of bells and whistles attached to it.
Yeah, and as we know, Jackie, for the group stage we're starting off with, it really isn't that unforgivable to go down too early. We're going to get 8 teams going through towards straight through, and then we have 8 teams going through to the survival stage, battling it out. Right, that's what we want to see here. So there is still a lot of chance for our squads to remain in this one for a long time. So it will be 16 teams in that survival stage. 8 of our top teams will be heading straight through towards those finals we'll be playing later. So we won't really see any teams or their keys being crushed until after that survival stage.
Yeah, you've got to wait for the spectacle. Like Barney was teasing, when the iris opens, sparks will be flying. So you won't want to miss that as the action develops here. I was kind of hoping a little bit, actually, we would get a run in between these two with how good Yangon Galacticus looked into the previous matchup with Alpha 7 on the roam over. And it's DRX in the back line, so potential for the rotates in actually being quite spicy when the fights break out.
Yangon Galacticos pretty close towards what I would say is a fairly central position. Now roaming around towards gas station, and that side of the map pretty barren towards the pizza slice that just sits on the northwest side of the map, which is very open. You don't really want to play around there. Always do find that cross from shooting range off to that eastern side is a bit more awkward, which is why you're seeing much more teams down towards that southeast around Yasnaya. And staying far enough away from the field. So there's a lot of treacherous zones here that you don't really want to go into. I'm sort of surprised we don't have any teams trying to bank over towards Rozok. I guess for Regnum Kaya, they're keeping a player back in wild so he can quickly dash back over towards Rozok if needs be.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Let's see, though. Let's see what this is going to do in terms of the shift. Now the zone rotate will affect things. Blank, obviously, favours up. More central overall, actually not too bad really, especially in terms of the group that you've got there. So DRX still being able to play on the outer edge, everyone else making their move in. Falcons obviously slight adjustment there. Pachinki obviously open entirely as well, so we're regrouping up. It's a late rotating for the blue for Weebu, and they'll have their focus in on a little bit of a late joining.
I think, honestly though, for Circle, pretty rough. You have the entirety of the field right here on the map, which is just bare open ground, and then the pizza slice that I was talking about earlier, which is on that southwest side of Stalba, where the 2 roads make that kind of triangle slice. That is fairly open too. So this is pretty tough for a lot of teams to remain, and I would probably bank on at least 2 or 3 teams going down over the course of the next circle, maybe circle and a half.
A lot of potential. Not much cover to play with, limited opportunities for the compound, so fights could be coming your way.
Absolutely, you're right. Team Falcons down towards the southwest edge. Like you said, Chinky was free as they left it quite early, but they're going to have to get past school right now. They're over towards apartments. A little bit more difficult to see because we are cramming 15 teams into a small space because they're all avoiding that fielded area, trying to take up space around some of this remaining compounds. You have the river that cuts through into the lake. It's a weird circle. It's a very weird circle. I do like this position DRX has, though Alpha 7 is waiting in the wings. Mafioso underneath. this typically is a really good spot to catch teams playing on those outer shacks and outposts just over towards the western side of Yasnaya on the lake. You can control a lot of area from this top side. Now, how will DRX handle Alpha 7 though? Because the rest of the team is making their way on over with Cleo, Squash and Revo just off towards the west.
It's Mafioso just playing on the lip here of the rock face. He's had the vehicles approaching, the engine giving that away. Just tucks in, has to play on the off angle realistically. If they peek into him, he seems like he's got a good read on the situation at least, but spacing from the teammates relatively far. DRX trying to get a lay of the land, assess if anyone else is coming in from the other side. Didn't actually find him. He pushed up towards the rock face as well on the peak. He leaned in for it, but neither one gave away the info fully. So obviously it's just the audio he's playing on for now, staying tucked in. If they push ahead of him, could backstab them really nicely.
They have no idea. They're properly confused on what to carry. We're going to get our next circle. And it wasn't as treacherous as I thought it was going to be. This one is going to push a lot of teams away from the fields, at least from Yasnaya, so teams can be happy about that, but it's across the river. Jackie, over towards AX, E-Arena. Weibo's made a good wrap, actually, as well, over towards this north side. They are coming through that open ground, and Alpha 7 could chime in over towards that western side. We'll see how it happens, but Alpha 7 is so focused on taking over towards DRX, but DRX is left.
Join now with Alpha 7's POV straight back in. And this is what you were saying, the rotate over there, taking shots from the back line. Squash, we know that he can be talented. Unloading at the minute, snap shots over the top just as they tuck into the compound. A lot of chip damage onto them. Yeah, massively so. And you can follow up from it as well. I mean, Order in a horrific position. They just keep finding these knocks. Late game rotate, like it's been nice for them, but it results in this.
That's an important knock over towards Yangon. Galacticos coming through from RCB. But Weibo Gaming can get themselves back up. This is a Hail Mary of a play, Jackie, all right? In terms of where they are on the map, it's very, very central. They'll take the Wizard Tower here, which works out nicely. But they basically need to hold this position for the rest of the game. The vehicles are shot to bits. The tires are going to be all popped by the time they get out to them. So Weibo Gaming is not moving. At least not until the end game.
Wow, what are you doing? Mate, you actually made it in. Oh, it couldn't have been better timing on it. Straight Benny Hills out up the stairs, wanting to get himself into the high ground.
This is a risky play.
Yes, man.
There's no one there to help him.
He just went for it.
It's like, we need the high ground.
Yeah.
We need to play up the high ground.
I've got to go.
I've got to go. I've got to go.
I've got to go. And he did. Go, he did.
Yeah. So that was literally a player. I guess the reason they do it is that making that play later, you're going to have 3 or 4 teams looking at you. So this was the only time to do it. Respect the fact that, you know, when it's crunch time, they're ready to play inside the crunch.
I mean, like, honestly, they've been kind of subverting expectations already with this match, even if it hasn't been just off the back of like, oh, we're seeing some crazy gun skill. They're keeping you guessing a little bit, which at times, thriving in the chaos, can be incredibly beneficial. Seems like non-ship Red Force taking a knock there, though. We've got a bit of a follow-up as well, with AX getting thrown into the fight. Falcons, of course, here having a whole load of shrapnel thrown towards them. Narvalo is down. Still in a position where he can tuck around the back of the stairs and be saved at least. Arian trying to just throw out some bullets to keep them guessing. Does he actually want to push up? It's a nice nade over towards where Koa is. We cooked this one perfectly. Chuck it in top.
Oh, it's pretty nice, actually, yeah. I think for AX, they're way more concerned about this next circle. Jackie, the amount of water in this is staggering, only for it to be over towards that southeast side with the fields.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous body of water. You think about the limited amount of space you've actually got to play with in the zone because of this. Okay. I mean, this is already been a bit of a cheeky one, right? So let's see where it goes. Non-shooting Red Force here, just eating bullets, trying to use the water with some sort of additional cover to work with, throw it off, but no. I mean, Alpha 7, eyes like a hawk at the minute, dialing onto them. We do say goodbye to another one of our squads here. Going out second, of course, with Pubg going to the only full wipe that we had way back at the start of the game. That's why there's so many teams still in play here this late into the matchup.
And this is a really interesting position from Regnum Kaya, where they're underneath the bridge right now. They're playing the bridge, but the fact that no other team has really challenged that position as well is a staggering thought to me, honestly, because a lot of times you'll have teams on either side. So Regnum Kaya being able to hold this, it doesn't seem like the best position in the world to be literally on the iron girders underneath there. But it does keep you alive a long, long time. Doesn't always necessarily give you the winning position of the game, but I think for a lot of teams, survival is quite important in this particular match with this kind of circle.
Okay, here's two names we haven't had to say too much during this matchup, but of course were very prevalent in our first outing of the day. You've got Four Fribes and also Vision. They're both fighting down towards the outskirts. Similar kind of setup here, actually, with some of the teams that could be going head-to-head relatively soon. AX on the force down with E-Arena coming in from the back line. Henry might get caught. And you've got Falcons that will be waiting in the wings as they get lower down towards the roadside as well, with Vision onto them. Oh dear, Blank. Potential for some interesting little bouts here. It's a wide spread, though, from the arena. So they've got a lot of a lay of the land onto it. They can try and get a bit of vision onto the backside with DRX and Alpha 7.
It can't really afford to play anything too close here. The arena, the space is just absolutely diabolical to play in. IQ, very, very good player. Been playing for a long, long time. Smart guy, hence the name. Looking to lead for Thrives towards a victorious push here versus Vision. They already find some good damage over their way. He's slowing it down. He's running circles around them.
Vision realistically just have not had an opportunity to move too much over the course of the past few minutes. We'll come back to that thought as it's DRX. They've got the opening chicken dinner of the day. Now they're just being given an explosive breakfast with nitro being thrown their way. Nade after nade on top. Weebo as well, still being able to get stuck into the fight from the side as the bullets hit. Hyunbin on the nade back, good for one, but he's got a full army coming his way. This is E-Arena, the wall of smokes in front of him, effectively just him left. Everyone else has been taken out, so DRX, if they want to get the back-to-back wins, it would need to be an unbelievable effort just from Hyunbin with an awful lot to get done.
Yeah, he's in a bit of a struggle position. Luckily for him, E-Arena is getting walloped from the sidelines. Oh, what a problematic smoke there. Dissipates, and his eyebrows raise and are visible to E-Arena. Falcons somehow make their way in front of AX here, which is nice, and obviously take out their opposition, but what a disgusting circle this is. All lake, all field. Firefox currently holding down towards Vision and Four Thrive, so even if one of those teams gets away with their life, they're still going to have to deal with shots coming through. Well, we should actually be able to sneak on past using that ridgeline on the west towards the roadside to make that happen.
Nade after nade, good damage. AX being able to find opportunities to fight on their terms in both matchups we've seen today. Going for the full crash as well, the Rhino maneuver with the vehicles over the top side, hitting heavy onto the Falcons. Now Valo at least with the reply back, good for one, but the nade on top of the team. Oh, Henry goes down and so do the Falcons. Oh mate, feels like no one really wins there.
To be honest, I think that should have been an AX, just wiping down Palo. Plays a risky game, drops a nade at his feet, finds two on the knocks. Somehow it happens, Team Secret, Little Boy will go down, that's Jaiki in the back there. This is Team Secret all the way on the northeast side, coming out from Yasnaya. Alpha 7 made a big swim down towards the center of the circle. As we said before, Weibo have just not been able to move all that much. Their vehicles are shot. It is Yangon Galacticos still making this one happen, though they lose Cyclops.
It's nice seeing the energy as well from Team Secret actually this one. A lot of yelling already from them on the player camps. You can see they're trying to keep themselves fired up. Opportunity to steal away a couple of elite limbs so far. It's put in a pretty good spot. I mean, influence rates, top spot with 6 points, but you're at a close second, still able to build more as well. We've got 4 players alive. Now, off the back of what was a crazy dive in, Order still from a position to find more impact. Team Secret still popping up, and again and again.
Regnum Kaya, they've got a lockdown on this western side of the circle. It's such a nice place to be in where you really don't have much competition. They can get involved when they want, playing off from this bridge position. And again, a lot of teams didn't put stock in this, and I don't know why Regnum Kaya was the only team to make that choice earlier on to pick this one up. And to be honest, it's a bit of a change, honestly, from their usual play. I think that they took their time moving from Grozok a little bit further across towards apartments. A fair few times on these kind of circles, they've been caught out where they move too far and too fast. The circle ends up coming back their way, and then they struggle in the future because of it. It should have been an easy pickup. Order attempts to make the cross, and that will be one. More in the pocket of Regnum Kaya.
Yeah, the man himself, Silas, on screens, looking to find some impact on this one and build up the elims for him from the position they've got with the cover to play off. Now, Weeboo been taking their time. Feels like they've been, given a bit of plot armor with some of the fights they've survived throughout this map. Maybe that's about to change. It's a good peek in. Loxy lops them up. Shuts down one. There's the reposition close into the ridge as well. The rest of the squad not really in a position to attempt to trade, but the angles just don't favour you. You've got covered either on that side with the rock face, you've got vehicles to play off of. Toxic with a quick peek, good headshot there.
Yeah, that was nuts from Toshbek. So low though, but you need to get that headshot coming through from the Mini 14. 33Z going down, just Suk remaining, our slightly more unorthodox player coming through from Weibo. Actually on that big split they had earlier on. Alpha 7 do make it across, by the way. They did a heavy amount of damage, but managed to make it happen. Toshbek looking now, but you can see from staying in this spot for a long, long time, resources aren't looking all that great.
Yeah, running low. That's the factor that could come back to bite them the longer this one goes on. I was curious to see if things would keep developing in a good manner for Team Secret as well, as they had a nice little bit of choreography there for a while. They were finding fights where it looked like it was working well. I mean, up to 6 elims, but they've been shot in the back. They do at least still get the knocked player back up, so it's going to be okay to reset from it. That's the last remaining member of E Arena as well, just down towards the coastline there in Joker. Meanwhile, Alpha 7 low here on resources, but can they build back up from forcing out...
What are you doing, Khalil?
Oh, mate, what's happening? Landed him.
Hey, here's that initial fight from earlier on versus Influence Rage. Trang just holding it down in that front line. Diego goes down as a hopper from Lil Boy. He just holds the angle, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so. Kind of setting this one up where it's like, oh, this could be big for them, force them out, take the position off them, get some gear. Made to the back of the face. Love that, but let's see if they can save Revo, get him back in the fight. Meanwhile, they're being collapsed upon those. This is Hora coming in from the top as well, looking to really put the pressure on here. No fear, living up to his name. Nade over the top, burst in air. Hora with the first knock back over. Seems like Silas as well, taking that one straight to the dome. It's a free-pointer. Oh, mate, beautiful work done. We out in the meantime. Sleepy has his legs blown out on the nade back over from Alpha 7.
If he hits this. It's so close, bro. That second nade was unbelievable, but Forever was able to make his way down and hit the shot. Regnum Kaya will go out there. 6 elims. I think that was a good game from Regnum Kaya, all things said. They just got themselves into a position where couldn't quite figure out a way to remove themselves from it. Again, I don't think the circle favors them at all here. So I do think it was decent. For Carrillo, yeah, head down focused. Definitely should feel a little bit guilty about what he just did over towards Revo, who was revving up to get a good nade over towards Regnum Kaya earlier.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like you said, if you can at least recover it individually, then it'll be all right. We can forget about the bad times and the possibility of it maybe being better than it should have been. But we'll go from here. You forced out the team underneath, so no one blocking your path. It allows at least a bit of a reset from Hora. A lot invested into that, though. Unfortunately for them, they were hoping it would be way cleaner right on the dive in with a third party. You get left with just 2 players. It is going to slow you down. So many nades used as well from them. So back pockets relatively empty, and there's not much to pilfer from what was underneath the bridge.
Yeah, this is such a weird circle as well. You do not see this kind of circle for many, many months at a time. It's a very, very odd one. I don't think I've seen the circle end up around here for a long, long, long time. Pretty much both Thrives or Fireflux do have a big position here, purely because they have the ridgeline to play around between one another. It's going to be Horror, No Fear, Alpha 7, Team Secret, and potentially E-Arena who's going to be getting themselves involved with one another. Obviously, the big difficulty though for both Thrives and Fireflux is that eventually that ridgeline is going to be useless to them. They're going to have to move over towards that north side.
Well, Hora might have just outlived potential expiry date they've had on this one. No Fear, the last to fall, as Revo will get revenge for the damage back over into the previous encounter towards the bridge, and he can save his teammates. You will still have 2 of the Alpha 7 squad alive and kicking, trying to play off each other here. Let's see, maybe they can build themselves back in, have a great start into the second game of the day, and show us the reigning champs have a lot of fight left in them. Team Secret though, Blanket, I'm curious to see actually if they could show up on this one. It's been nice from some of the mid-game fights that we saw them taking, and I love how fired up they look. Like instantly into this matchup, they're yelling, they're going for all of the good comms. That's not what you want though. Sideline shot back over, quick trade, headshot onto Revo with a Mini 14. It's a nice knock again. They're feeling the pressure from this position.
It's bad though. This is the worst time for Revo to be able to find a shot like that. For Alpha 7, they're far into the circle already, but this next one's going to start to push them. And in that moment, Team Secret likely wanted to start finding a bit of a foothold in the future. You can see Fireflux here locked into the tiniest ditch available, and the circle is going to continue to push them further inwards. I like the way 4 Thrives is playing this. They've got that lineup, so even if Fireflux are able to send a nade across, they've got way more space to play in, and they are taking advantage of that space as well. So these nades have got to be absolutely sublime from Fireflux.
Had a decent amount of them to work with as well, and you can see how they're setting this up. Good comms on it, slightly staggered with the nades going over. Looking to make sure they can commit onto the knock player just a little bit shallow. It's such a substantial distance though. Definitely trying to see if they could force out the 4 Thrives members and punish them. Oh, this could be good. Perfect timing. Wait, peek up, slap back over the blank. It's not for free. They're actually able to at least get a quick trade onto him. So good heads-up play.
The bush had a framework made of metal to stop that buggy in its tracks. The Fireflux ruined by that moment. They really just wanted to get across and start taking shots from the 2 players remaining from 4 Thrives. In the meantime, though, Madcap will go down, as will Scarface, and it's looking pretty grim right now for Fireflux. Alpha 7 and Carrillo as well as Revo, I mean, that is a dynamic duo and a half, and they could make something work out of this game.
Potentially so. There's always a chance. There really is. Fortunately for 4 Thrives, now it's just one that has to thrive. That's all that's left for them. And like you say, a bit of a split there. 2 teams, in terms of the battle of attrition, that do have 3 players alive, but limited resources to play with, and the cover really isn't there for most of these squads. So closing the gap between one another, it's risky. It's all or nothing. You've got to peek in, off your teammates' contact, and commit to those elims. You can't mess around on this one. And Secret, looking very agitated, obviously aware of the Alpha 7 position, knowing it's do or die on the peak.
For Team Secret, the lucky thing for them is that they have a lot of hard cover in front of them, and those rocks as well as the tree line. This is wild from 4 Thrives, but they knew where Catch was, and they're just looking for 3rd place. It's a smart maneuver. They're going to confirm points. I actually like a team that does that, that takes it into their own. What?
Okay, goodbye Team Secret. That's how that goes, mate. The damage over the top with an aid, and the absolute aggression from Alpha 7 that throws us back into a head-to-head 1 versus 2. Revo looking to let it rip on the shots over the top, and there you go. Alpha 7, your reigning champions. They might have struggled on the first game, but they're back. They mean business, and they take that one home.
I mean, that's an apology and a half for Carrillo. I'm going to win the game for you. I'm going to win the game for you. Trust me, trust me. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I mean, I was praising Fourth Rise for the fact that they knew where Ketch was, and they were like, we're going to just secure a third place. We'll leave Noki behind, and then he can try and go for a second or a first if he's lucky. And in that moment, I think Team Secret gets so flustered, these just get torn to pieces. But there was so much opportunity, in my opinion. It's two guys from Alpha 7. They're more putting presence than everything behind those rocks. You just send out over towards that hard cover, towards that tree line, instead of sitting behind that vehicle. Much better chance towards that late game. And I think it was just that menacing characteristic from Alpha 7 that kept Team Secret in an odd spot.
Yeah, it felt like Secret into that match, you know, they had some good knocks from the sidelines where they were able to play off a bit more of a passive position. But by the end...
Talk about the grenade!
Yeah, I know
He's
giving it. He's just giving it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is ironic, right? That was the only outcome. Like, you gotta just win it. If you just win it, doesn't matter. We'll be fine. And that's what he does. That's what Alpha 7 do. And you are going to wait until we're back in a few moments' time. We'll see you in a sec.
The defending champions making sure they show up in the first day, and boy did they end up showing up in a big way as they were able to clutch up a win here on the first Erangel of the day. Max, I'm going to be sending it to you right away, and I'm going to be calling you out because you kind of did a bit of a reverse curse on them. You were saying this team is just going to get absolutely eliminated with the rotation that they were doing with that swim play. It ended up working out for them, Max.
If you guys want to know what I was saying backstage while that game was happening, I was just like, no way Alpha 7 win it. No way Alpha 7 win it. No way? Right? Like, I really thought there's no way in hell that swim across Yasnaya Lake was going to work out because you had Influence Rage still behind them. You still had Irina, and they lost 2 players because of the rotation. But then the best romance in PUBG Mobile Esports happened in Revo and Carrillo constantly healing each other and just creating space and winning as a duo against full squads. What was that?
I got a little bit more. If you didn't think that swim was the right play, right? I felt completely different to that. What do you want to see from that team in regards to different in regards to just that play? You don't want to see them swim, then what do you want to see?
So I do like the idea to swim across and get access to that ridge. I think that's a good idea. The timing was a bit off. I would like to see them defend the northern side against E-Arena and Influence, because if they eliminate those 2 teams, maybe they survive as a 4-man team and actually make it to the ridge and have an easier time to get that chicken dinner, maybe even get more eliminations. So I think that clearing the backside was lacking here and could have made that play even easier to execute.
Yeah, I think so as well, but we did have WBG as well in the back there, which added problems to any of the rotations. I mean, it was kind of the lesser of 2 evils, really, because WBG, A7 had a really good position in the beginning of that kind of late phase. That compound was phenomenal for them, controlled a lot of that northern ground. WBG coming in, they were like, not on our watch, you're not. But actually, with A7 swimming across, WBG were actually able to turn the tide and go, actually, not on our watch.
Yeah.
We're going to take you out. So it was a little bit of a back and forth there.
One thing that ended up helping out Alpha 7 was that Regnum Caria was there in a way to stop any WBG push. And I feel like that was the turning point. And then on top of that, Max, or Neptura, we did end up seeing a bit of a third party by Hora Esports, which we weren't too happy about.
It was a little overextending, wasn't it? They went, oh, we have an opportunity, go for it. Wait, no, nades, help.
I do like the idea of third partying, but you got such an open, flat terrain between their position of Regnum and their own little gas station that you can just play it very passive, wait for them to push out and just nade it, Molotov the position. I don't really care how you want to do it. I think you want to hold that spot to then go fight into 4th rise. But looking at the match rankings here, 20-point bomb here, dropped by Alpha 7 here on their second match on Erangel. Really, really good game, and again, as a duo here. So doing a statement at the very start of the tournament.
Another team, too. 4th Rise Esports, one of the dark horses, at least for me. 15 points, and 9 of those coming in from eliminations.
It's really nice to see. I think we've seen actually a really good game for them. I liked the position because typically we see them do a lot of third party, certainly in Sandhawk. The name of the game for them was that third party initiative. But here they actually played it as a 4-man squad in a field, playing for position, playing the position in zone as well. And I think it was actually really nice difference to see from them.
We've seen a lot of Pakistani teams making globals like IA, now it's 4th Rise. Do we all agree that this is the best chance we have of a Pakistani team winning a global? Because this team is looking amazing.
100%.
I fully agree. I think we're also seeing one of the best players ever from Pakistan in Falak.
Oh, yeah. The 1-second nade specialist, you know, he's been having some great times at KMSL CSA. They're going on to the second page. DRX not quite able to follow through with their initial chicken dinner over on Stanok and getting 0 point the bubble here on Erangel. That's not good.
There towards the second page, one team that didn't get any placement points, but did end up getting some elimination points. AXTMG,
Yes, they did. I actually really liked how they played that against Falcons. The initial fight over onto Falcons in the guard tower, they tried it, saw that it wasn't going to go through, and they went, okay, cool, we're going to back off. Awesome, love that. Then Falcons actually took a position that was down on under a ridge a little bit, and I think it was really interesting that AXTMG actually took that and went, we're going to approach this as a third party. They did not full send, they didn't do anything, they used the ridge to scout around, to kind of run around the ridge, throw some nades. Once they got like a double knock, then they just full sent in. That is more like a third party play than an actual 4v4 confrontation. So I thought that was actually really interesting because that is AXTMG's strength.
And then no survivors.
And then no survivors
remain in that like wasteland of that fight. But I think actually there was another option available available for AX teams. I wish they would have opened up their third eye for a second and just like saw that option, which is maybe third-partying Vision versus Four Thrives, and the southern side could have been a decent play. You go onto that bridge east of Rozhok, play it passive, you don't have to fight Falcons, because guess what? Even if they do win versus Falcons, later on you're going to have to cross Regnum Karyan, WBG, and Hora, so I think it would have been a good fight to claim a position at that point. Before the chicken dinner, no way was going to happen after a big fight versus Falcons in that specific spot.
Well, with what I'm seeing so far from AXTMG, I feel like we got to go into Dr. Suleiman Al Habib hot takes, because my hot takes is, with what I'm seeing from AXTMG, I feel like they might end up going to the grand finals, and I'm hoping it continues on. Max, do you have any hot takes?
I'm not sure if it's a hot take. I think it is personally. I think hot drops have no place in a global tournament like this.
Agreed, especially after day one. Yep.
I think A7 are going to win the next match, back-to-back, day one. Let's go. Is that a hot take?
Excuse me?
That's a hot take.
All right. Well, you know what?
think
I'll let it slide.
it's for me.
I wonder if Reflections is going to be maybe changing his hot take. I want to end up finding out. So you know what? Let's send it over to John Allen and Reflections.
Okay.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kadia Esports Arena. Things are kicking off quite nicely when it comes to PMWC. Alpha 7 coming off a tremendous win. We got to be watching out for them, the returning champions. But since we're 2 maps deep, I think it's now a perfect time to do our Dr. Suleiman Al Habib's hot take, because things are starting to get spicy. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by John. And what are we seeing so far, man? Because Alpha 7, that win was huge.
That was absolutely brilliant. 2 players against so many full force squads. They held their nerve when it mattered most, and they came out on top. Let's get into these hot takes, though, all right? And I'm going to kick things off nice and strong. Maxman is going to say Team Spirit instead of Team Secret at least 10 times today. Guaranteed. That TS abbreviation, that's tricky.
It is tricky. That's why we're casters. He's not. I do question, though, why is Maxman getting so much hate? He was tied up, thrown on the couch before the pre-show, and then now you are also bullying him yourself. What's going on, man?
Hey, look, the man needs to stay humble, otherwise he'll predict teams more and more, and we all know that we do not want that to happen.
Humility. I think we all could use a little bit of humility. Alpha 7, though, I was actually coming out the gates before that win. I was going to say my hot take was they're not making it, or they're going to the survival stage. They're not just going all the way through to the finals. I got to change that. So now I'm going with Revo. I think he's going to get 50 eliminations, but can he surpass it? We'll find out.
Let's head back over to the casters.
Hello guys, we're back. You know what my hot take is that we're all really uncreative, and I agree with Reflections. We've got to stop bullying Max.
Here's my hot take. I love Maxman so much.
That's not, that's such a cold take. Everyone knows you love Max, man.
Yeah, but you know, what else am I going to say?
You're freezing right now. You're freezing cold.
Look, I just want Max to know.
You're -5.
Max, you're amazing. All right,
Stop
this
it.
is specifically for you, Max. I'm talking
Stop
to you right now.
fanboying right now.
It's so cool, though. The style, the grace, the way that he fills up the place when he walks in the building, Maxman. King of the nades, Maxman. But you know what? Let's talk about another team that delivers almost at the same caliber of Maxman. Alpha 7, that was a hell of a comeback from them. It was a good show up.
Yeah.
Right? I was worried. I was saying, like, game 1, right, looked kind of sluggish. Everyone looked sad. Sad on camera A. Least now, kind of happy on camera A. Reminiscing about the misplay with the nade, but in a positive light. All blown over, all still made.
I just threw a bit too short, you know?
Oh,
it's fine.
Yeah.
We
My
won.
finger was a little bit sweaty, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
But he did clutch it, came home big with it, hit the straight slick 3-pointer. Everyone's living. Although, how's it going to go from here? Obviously for us, third game of the day, last game of the day for us, only the halfway point. You recap some of the things we're seeing, right? Again, global trends on this one. Point differential, not that crazy. Mid-portion cap, right? We've still got a good half of the lobby that can get a bit of a shift on in this matchup. Power gaming, though, not looking great, Mike. I'll be real, that's a shame.
They're unshimmied right now.
Yeah.
He's bad. He's bad. And again, there are some teams here that are looking just as clean as the Mr. 7WG himself, but others, they're just not doing so hot. And I think that's going to be the base of this whole cast. It's going to be really nice to everyone and everyone.
Yeah,
and everyone.
Yeah, super friendly.
Yeah, we're just super chill cast. It's nice. As we head in towards our third match of the day. There was a big point that we wanted to bring up, which was on that first angle that we saw there. It was a very southern playing path. Forced a lot of teams to head over towards some of the backup drops that they had. Now, I do want to see something that's a little bit more central, you know, even a vertical play map I'd be pretty happy with. I want to see a clear-cut decider of where teams going to be playing, because it is not unlikely that you have a day where all of these playing paths are really awkward towards the side of the map, or not allowing you to swing far off towards the west or the eastern side because of where they're situated over 3 matches today. And not only is that difficult for us to get a read on the players and the teams and where they're dropping, but it is really tough for the teams who are going to go home tonight and put a lot of that analytical prep that you see the caliber from Neptura, for instance.
No, it's true, dude. It's true. You know, I think it's one of those blank. We're already at this point today. We're seeing some squads that are being able to thrive with more passive gameplay, some of the heads-up reads where, again, actually a good callback, like Maturo was saying, right? Like the idea of kind of getting over the hump early, where you go in, maybe force yourself into some aggressive hot drops just to see if it gets the blood pumping. You know, obviously, I think the term is from Moneyball blank, it's feed the hot hand. It's one of those that makes a lot of sense in this kind of environment, because obviously, other side of the coin, you see what's happening with power. It ain't working right now.
Yeah.
It feels like they're cooling off. Colder than those takes about Max Man. Other side of the coin, you had DRX there that bided their time into an explosive finish. That's nice. It's going to amp you up. Sure, game 2 wasn't as great, but then what happens? Alpha 7 starts saying, let's play a bit more aggressive. Let's actually take fights. One of them was very aggressive.
Extremely so.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, for a lot of our teams, they're just going for things at the moment. And there's little to lose here. We've already discussed it in the case that, you know, no one's going out right now. You're either going through to the main tournament or you're heading through to that survival stage where 16 teams will be taking part. So the 24 teams will be going through. Right now is the best place to be when it comes to experimentation as we head into our match number 3 of the day. Is Erangel. We're going to have one more Erangel after this one, followed by 2 Miramars over on those dusty dunes, and a few reflections as well as John taking you through that one. But for now, let's get right into this 3rd match. And look at that play path. Yes.
Far more central, mate. This is what we were hoping for. Obviously, last time around threw us off a little bit with some of the hot drops we were expecting and some of the rotates we were seeing. Some secondary drops were called out. Things should be a little bit more cleanly cut here, and we'll see if there is overlap. In a weird way, again, it does actually kind of scare me if we do see power going for the potential play that we could expect here with the hard drop. We'll see, mate. We'll see.
Heading straight back down towards Milter, but Influence Rage is going a little bit further here, so Power should be able to hold on to this. That feels bad.
Yeah.
But Influence Rage is not going back to Milter Power despite just demolishing you in it, so it's kind of like a pity play that you've been sent your way. I am curious to see if Pachinki is held solely by Team Falcons this time around.
Like the fact again, actually, we do get sort of the distance there from Team Secret. We do seem to be playing this far slower wick of the game. Let it burn late into the night, you know, don't want that one to burn quickly.
Yep.
Although I will say the problem was the minute they were actually throwing a bit of a broader sword, it was panic stations. That's where it went wrong.
Well,
right?
there was no parries.
No.
There was absolutely no parries involved there at all. Even the dodge roll looks sluggish on the side of Team Secret. Heading on towards the Pubg as well, and I do have something to say about the Pubg is that although decent position, it's all right. You do actually see a lot of pro teams these days like moving away from the Pubg as a spot. If you can get somewhere further in towards the circle and completely play towards that, you take that. Even though that means holding over towards one of the west or eastern side of Yasnaya, that's fine. But yeah, we'll see how teams play this now. It is a pretty packed map already. But I think that Team Secret, after seeing that, playing in the Pubg Cup means you have to push through a lot of teams just to get towards the initial circles, and those initial circles are over towards the southwest side. It cuts a lot of Sosnovka in, which is a bit of an awkward one, where you're not sure if you'd be heading across or not. It would be cool to see a Sosnovka this early into the tournament, though, Jackie.
Yeah, it'd be fun, man. It'd be nice if we actually do get it thrown into the mix. I do love these wide splits. Sorry, just a highlight there. I know, obviously, map feed-wise, just looking at how Weibo are going to be able to rotate on this one. nowhere near as drastic. Backline of the DRX late. But anyway, we'll focus up with what's happening here. You've initially got the POV of Alpha 7. Alpha 7, for those of you tuning in, of course, I'm sure you're aware, they are currently the crown holders, the kings themselves, who took the trophy last year in a rousing affair. Some incredible plays, back-to-back games where they were popping off. And really, it was a bit of a nail-biter towards the end of last year, Blank. You know, you're thinking sort of them and Reject, like who's going to take it, which region's going to show up. Coming into this one, I was a bit worried with the result in the first game. Glad to see a massive show up, even with it just being a duo that had to get so much done. Some diligent PUBG Mobile shown from them in the previous outing. How's the rest of the day going to go, though? Will Neptura's hot take become a reality? A back-to-back chicken dinner for them would instantly be the landslide of, all right, maybe it is going to happen again. Like, that's the sort of hype you want on a day one.
I think for Alpha 7 in particular, they're a team that really, when that momentum starts getting rolling, it's hard to stop them. They're very much like an avalanche in that respect. It's hard to deal with that, and if you're not careful, you are going to get covered and buried underneath the snow. Alpha 7 is going to be bringing down upon you. So I think that for Alpha 7 getting that win there, especially where it mends that relationship between Cleo and a Rebel very early on, where that could have been difficult for them. But that makes you feel really good, you know, because instantly, instead of having what would have been a little bit of an annoyance, right? It's a bit frustrating. And you have a bit more of that brotherly bond once again been stricken there in that map, which is cool. It's very cool to see, and I think that would help them. And I don't think Neptune is far off from the mark. I do think for Alpha 7, this game could easily be a good one.
No, absolutely. Even though she was smirking while she said it, the point does really reign true and could certainly have a lot of credence. And you're right, bro, you know, not cutting the cheese with the chalk. I think absolutely it's one of those where you would have been fuming with each other had you gone down on the back of that nade with
two key players as well.
Right? Instead, you won it, and like you say, it's brotherly love, everyone's having a good time, the boys are back in town. DRX, they were in town for a second there, but one of them has instantly been shut down. You've got the drive-in from Falcons that have spotted a weakened target. Solo and isolated. Blessing from that, you do grab another vehicle off the back and get the 1 point.
Yeah, unfortunately, DRX went to town. You know, it's like a boys' night out. You're going to lose one of them eventually.
Where's he gone?
You find him at home later.
So I actually never came out. I was at home the whole time. Sorry, guys. Stayed in the plane.
The DRX down to just 3 players there. They had a good start to the day, but if you look at that, 19 points, that's all the points they earned there on Sandhog.
True.
They earned nothing on that last game, and I think that for Arangel it's a very important map to be able to perform on, so I'd be very unhappy to see them go to Arangels with nothing to show for it. The Falcons, though, we were talking about earlier, you were talking about feeding the hot hand. I like what the Falcons are doing. I do worry a lot of times about the Falcons in terms of their more passive gameplay. I think that there are definitely moments where I think Redox and Narvalo certainly need to take a leaf out of Koa's book and just be a bit more aggressive. And it's funny that one of those passive players on this team, historically at least, Ralph is one of the players who I think has been the most influenced by Koa's gameplay. So yeah, I think that that's what I'd like to see from that team, especially here where they have the ability to experiment a lot. But it's nice to see them having just continued success.
Yeah, it's hard as well because it's a double-edged sword when you have such a really infused fan base like Falcons do, especially when we're here, right? Like we're in Riyadh, we're in Saudi Arabia, and you can see the excitement that's going on there. Everyone's cheering after they get an elim, after they make a play. And that goes both ways. If suddenly everyone goes quiet, you notice it, and you know it's for you. You fall alone.
Dude, even in PMSL EU over towards the Turkey side, right? When they were playing there, they looked stressed on their bad games.
All eyes on you, bro.
They look stressed on their good games. And I think that there is a lot riding on. There's a lot riding on here. I think personally, if they can at least get to the top 8 after this group stage, I think they'll feel so much more confident. Just going straight through to the finals there, and not having to deal with it, that will be the ideal scenario.
I mean, even if you think about just the fact, we were saying like, oh, everyone is literally forced to stare at Alpha 7 on a pedestal, on a plinth, literally in the arena. They were called out by name. They were there. Everyone else sees Falcons as well, separated from the rest of the squad. It makes you kind of have that animosity of, we should take them down. We should make sure, you know, that extra oomph from the other teams, where some people thrive on that. Like, those little elements come into your mental game. It affects how you play PUBG Mobile. Suddenly it starts to change a little bit. You see those targeted fights. It gets spicy. This is more of a story we'll develop over the course of the event. We'll see how that starts to ebb and flow. But it's just something to have in the back of your minds for the viewers at home. Weibo, I think it's been, I'd say, nice, at least in terms of the way they have been playing to their strengths. They've had some really crazy dives, crazy rotations, but they've made it work, so I can't fault it too much. It's obviously just not been the best in terms of converting it into actual placements or eliminations.
I think that there's one region that just will make those kind of plays, and it's something that I always massively adore about that region, especially that play from Suk as well, just running up the stairs. A lot of teams just won't take the opportunity, they won't make that play, but Weibo and that region in general is one of the few regions like Americas where it's a case of we need high ground, but it's like a 90-10 scenario where I will get eliminated for doing it. But they will take that risk because they know that if they don't do it, they may as well be throwing away the game anyway. So they'd much rather take those risks early, which I think does put those teams in a much better position. And I think it's a type of squad that could get a very, very high elimination game over the course of this group stage. We'll have to wait and see. AX currently very central. We're heading around Gatka at the moment and just south of Pachinki. It's a bit more flat around this area. There is fielded area too. You don't really want to heading down towards Ferry Pier because you're cutting yourself off the sight lines. There's a fair amount of water in this one. We were worried that it was going to go down to Sosnovka. It didn't do that, so a lot of teams can now consider coming back up power. I think it's reasonable they head towards Sosnovka. It was one of the few plays they had in the back pocket on the happenstance we did go down towards that part of the map. They would have had a fantastic position. Now they've got to figure out how to get across.
Yeah, something to potentially keep your right eye on, gosh, your left eye's on this side. We can touch on Horror a little bit as well. I think, again, it's one of those where they had some unfortunate encounters, like No Fear, in terms of the timing and the setup he had. It was really good cooking with the nades. You could see, like, he had his understanding down to a T, mechanics were nice. He was just hit from the side, where it was a really sick off angle for DRX back in game one. Again, I think that's a T that potentially, if they're not sort of showing up too much, maybe you start to underestimate them, they'll find a way to start to climb, because there's a ton of talent there. They do just need the opportunity to display it. We've seen a few bits from Squash, but it's interesting, obviously, we've not really had as much opportunity to keep our eyes on him. I'm curious to see how he's going to build over the course of the event, because I feel like, again, man, it's a lot you're thrown into here, you know, like the live environment for him, you're coming in, all the pressure on, as you've got the trophy, your team won it, you've got to live up to that again this time. Showing us the moves at the minute. Vision, it's rough. It was a good start, game one. Here, instantly isolated, you find the scout, take him down. That's E-Arena that grabbed that. With Joker showing up consistently. He's been the big dog, I'd say, so far for E-Arena.
It looks like he's enjoying himself as well. I think for Vision, there's been a lot of times where, if I'm quite honest with you, the awareness hasn't been great.
That's fair.
Hasn't been great in terms of where they're playing. I mean, we even saw that from, I believe it was E-Arena again on the last Erangel, where they were on a split over towards the top side. They were able to just move in there and immediately isolate them. So I think for Vision, that is something that needs to definitely be improved, which is just the overall awareness around the map in terms of that scouting, because teams will be taking opportunities absolutely anywhere they can find. These are the best teams in the world coming to the PMWC, the PUBG Mobile World Cup. Right, this is not an easy stage. It is not an easy stage to play it.
Quick shout out to the production team, by the way. Loving these transitions. They've been nice. They've been really nice. It's good setup when we do get our circles coming in. Pat on the back. You guys are killing it. Everyone is. It's been a good day so far. And of course, this is the halfway point. It's why it really starts to matter. We get a feel for how things are looking, the lay of the land, as we develop into the later portion of today's games with the zone on the move.
I think that's Toshpik actually going down there for Regnum Caillou. He's a bit split off from the rest of the team, and they were making that move out down towards the south side, and I think he just gets caught on the back of that rotate. They'll still have 3 players to work with there for Regnum Caillou, which is not terrible. It's not always the best position in the world, but this is one of those spots where you take it early on the circumstance that we do get this fielded area, and this becomes actually one of the stronger positions because it is so open ground around it. That's risky playing in this corner, but he needs to get back across. I think he's worried about the sight line. Yeah, very, very worried about it. But there is so much area around here. Is that an arrow been sent his way?
It might be.
Just locking him on the door.
Yeah, this is kind of naughty. I mean, you've just got them pinned, effectively. Like, obviously, smoke wall up, try and play behind, stay tucked in, but you don't have an opportunity to aggress on it. Like, the timing on the face from the angle they've got with the high ground, you should have the shot every time. Yeah. Attention is somewhat split, though.
I want to know if that was Suk, because there's been a lot of talk about him actually carrying the explosive bow and arrow around a lot, just to lock players down in position. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. That was pretty terrifying there for Regnum Kaya, but they can play that spot. They can certainly play that position, and it might pay dividends in the future. We'll wait and see if that investment was worth their time. Bravo 7, though, probably won't be getting away from this position on that southwest side. AXR in front of them. They'll have to bash through there. Currently, Power is struggling on this bridge. The amount of times I've seen Falak on this girder, on top of the bridge, is a lot.
It gives him so much vision as well. Ooh, okay. Nearly. Window of opportunity, obviously very slim. You've got to chicane on the push up. Trying to keep the help from the back line. Takes a bit of time before he gets the first shot back over, but the first knock is the most important. Quick reposition, got to try and get himself out of dodge. Takes the damage from the drop and the bullet from the side. So into a knock on the bridge, off the angle. Teammates now with more pressure on them. Split there, obviously incredibly awkward for Power with the distribution of squads they've got around them. It's DRX they've got on the other side as well.
I'm just not sure what Power was thinking on this one, if I'm perfectly honest with him, where playing on this edge, it's so tough. Yeah, they're getting eliminations here and there, but slowly but surely they are going down. Again, they could have played in from where Team Secret's on, where the circle was, where it encompassed Ferry Pier. You know there's going to be teams playing over towards Primors. There's going to be teams heading over towards Yellows. This is a situation where there's going to be many, many teams looking to lock you out over towards Lighthouse coming across that bridge. It's just an unreasonable decision, in my opinion, where they could have played it slow on the eastern side. The only other thing I can think of, and I mentioned it earlier, is just that they were hoping, gambling for a Sosnovka finish. They would have been the first there, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, the odds certainly not in their favour if that was the gambit they were going for this time around. He was unlucky as well with the timing. Nearly got the pop off on the hill to keep himself alive, but Fainan going down because of it. And then Al Haji, you are a sitting duck, effectively. That's the real sort of top and bottom of it. He's trapped on the coastline. Play Zone being the additional squad that will take him down from the back. So again, Power Gaming, I think that's free for free on first squad's fall, other than obviously actually easy. Yeah, he survived as a solo, got those 2 points in the first game, but it's been rough. You're losing at least 3 players in the opening sort of, 2 to 3 minutes of each game now, minimum.
It's rough. It's really rough, and there needs to be a big change towards the end of the day. Looking at Fourth Thrives, though, they're doing really well. Second place at the moment. I was asked recently who my top 3 players were, and in that top 3 I mentioned Balak because he is one of the more exciting off-angle specialists, and you saw him there even on the bridge. That's another thing I love about the player, is that when he's in that solo position where he's playing off the back of his teammates trying to set up situations, he's so safe, so cautious with it. He was never going for the full-on spray. He was happy to let his teammates find those knocks, find those eliminations, and he just had to be the enabler, essentially. So he's a very, very cerebral player. And if you're watching Pubg Mobile, you never heard of him, I'd keep your eye on him during this entire tournament.
100%, man. Nerves of steel and really handy with the steel with Harry was taking those fights. This has been Vision trying to get a bit more aggro as well with a dive over towards the hut side, isolate one player there as they get the info onto him. Quick pick up on the crate as well. Grab what he's got on him to restock themselves. Yeah, bro.
He looked lost inside that shack, like he had no business being in there, and the arena was just getting evicted. Yangdong.
They're getting secreted on right now. There's the dive over the back. Secret, again, it feels like they do better when fights are on their terms. When it's suddenly thrown towards them, that's when a bit of panic kicks in. It was a little bit awkward. They are being at least able to find some recovery from it. The zone's awful for them, though, right? Consistently thrusted further forward. They have to just sprint through this, try and take it headstrong. They do win out on the fight, but with the double knock, it's going to still take some time to recover from it. Meanwhile, Weibo again. They always show up when you least expect it, and nades are raining.
Why are they on the eastern side of the map right now? There's an insane rotate from them, which I didn't even catch. They were playing down towards that western side. Suddenly they managed to get themselves all the way up to here. Just wrapped around, and Fireflux do find them. I think they were looking for a holdout as well towards Fireflux, but losing Suk is not ideal. Matt Cap's been an awesome addition over towards Fireflux as well. Been finding a lot of success for the team. Where Ketch is no longer as potent as he maybe was in the past, Matt Cap has been pretty phenomenal at basically bringing him back up to level. Like, both of them combined make a pretty fearsome duo.
There's been some fierce picks as well that we're seeing from the sideline there from Hora, still being able to keep themselves in a good spot in terms of the eliminations they're finding, where it's not an overcommit. So nice shots, again delivering. Fireflux, it's interesting how much we've actually seen them really being in focal points of fights that have a lot of reverberations for the outcome of the game. It never feels like it really gives them the oomph they need. They're always on the, the wrong side of the coin.
Yeah, that's 100. Bruised by the nade.
That wasn't a coin, that was a grenade.
Yeah, it was. That was dirty. Heading through M79, trying to lay down some smoke in the meantime. It's not going to be. Solus does hit the deck though. So does Scarface, and this is looking more and more rough. So very good shots coming through from Regnum Kaya, by the way, from that position they were talking about before. They're currently holding over towards that north side.
Shame for Secret as well. If Team Secret were looking to build and compound off the points they were able to accumulate into game 2, it's not really going to work out as well for them here. You go down relatively early, third squad to exit stage left. Did a massive cool-off as well over on the side of Yangon Galacticus, considering how impactful they were with that opening game. But let's dial in here with Alpha 7. Mafiosa, clean connection over the top side. Wow. AX giving as good as they get, and fair play to them. It's actually been impressive how good they've looked in terms of the amount of pressure that must be on this squad. You've got to deliver. Full commit on this. Push up with the DBS. Oh, it's clean for the first, but the bite back with the moves. Ravo starting to really bring the heat towards them. You've got nades running in from the side as well. Alpha 7 with a lot of targets on them.
Ravo canonically touted as the best shotgun player in the entire world. Hard to deal with him when he's flying through the air, gliding on the back of those wings, the DBS. Only taking shots over towards you. It's 4 thrives, backstab, and Alpha 7 was stuck between a rock and a hard place there. Noki once again playing anchor down towards that south side. I think honestly 4 thrives have a very, very good position here in the circle. And Balak with 4 elims so far during this game. I do think they have a good chance here, and now taking away first place spot. Neptura unfortunately mistaken on that call, but this is a big push coming through from Hora. And where is Silas?
Where is he indeed? Hora as well, just getting away with absolute liberties at the minute. They're going for some big commits. They're actually completely flipping it on its head of saying, you're kind of playing this passive game where then you suddenly throw the heat up. The tempo control's really good for them. They're keeping the other squads guessing. Been great fights. They're starting to find themselves opportunities for eliminations. And again, like you were saying, as much as this is great for 4 thrives, you've already been able to build up some points. Rest of the squads that in the overall rankings for the day, they're all gone. Anyone else that actually accumulated a nice amount have already been taken out. You can see it's the bottom end that is still alive with the overall points here. This could really have some chance to leapfrog you up. So this is a big game for a lot of the squads down towards the bottom side right now.
Absolutely, for AX particularly, they want to jump further up the rankings here. Horror as well, want to show a lot of these teams what they've got to offer, but 4 thrives could bump themselves massively up in this game, getting a lead of something like 20 points on the 3rd match of the day with Alpha 7 and Yangon Galacticos being down early, and Vision's only just breaking into the 20 points now.
Hora's still going. I mean, that's Vision being completely removed, blinded by the power of Hora Esports again here. No fear living up to his name. as the rest of the squad's playing with that Sleepy and Sky back-to-back. 8 eliminations combined between the two of them. Some impressive maneuvers. And we've been obviously sort of touting, 4-5s, they're in a good spot. If AX were able to find an opportunity to get the drop on them here, sort of pick them to pieces from the sidelines with the scout setup they've got, it could be a bit of a change of pace. They've not looked too bad over the course of the day so far, but taking down a team like that would be huge for them. There's been a nice reset for 4-5s to get back up to all 4 players. That's unfortunate. You're trapped on the edge, nothing you can do. That's the last man going down, so we do wave goodbye to Fire Flux.
They've been stuck out on that eastern side for such a ridiculous amount of time. It was not easy for them, but Weibo, despite showing off some pretty cool moves around the map and having some decent rotates into position, they've just not had the staying power in these matches at all. Not been able to dig those boots in to the ground. Felt like we'll be taken down by Sky, which is, to be honest with you, the speed at which he went down, that was an unbelievable spray coming through from Sky.
Yeah, Sky's looking crisp today, dude. Like, some of the shots he's being able to find are really impressive, but it's the setup from them as well. The way they're actually sort of jiggling and playing off each other's contact, comms look really clean.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Sky's got a massive amount of pressure on him. And we had a nice interview with him at the start of the day where he was saying that I don't really see it as pressure. I just see that fans being just loving us as a team, and I'm going to try and do them as proud as I can. For Sky, he's always been a phenomenal member of multiple different teams, and I think he's found a very nice spot here on Horror. Yeah, he is the star figure on that team, but by no means is he not backed up by some of the other players on that squad. I mean, No Fear's been around for a huge amount of time, and Sleepy and Jiggle here really feel like they have melded into the team very, very well. Yeah, Horror's definitely a team to keep your eyes on.
I think maybe that's working for him as well, where it's not, the whole squad sort of playing against each other whilst being a team.
Yeah.
Being set up where there is sort of, no need for the ego. Everyone's happy to just set each other up, and it's working well, dude. Like, they're passing that baton brilliantly.
It's funny as well, because Sky is played on, like, quite a lot of highbrow squads, let's say, where he has not always been the player that everyone looks towards and is like, that's the top player on that squad. So it must be quite nice to be on a team now where he is that star player, but he's still quite a humble dude. So, getting set up, and he's always there looking to capitalize, help his team find that success, and this is an unbelievable position. I talked about earlier where Regnum Karya tried to pick it up early into the game, and it would have had massive success for them should they've been able to hold it versus Horror, but they just came in very, very fast over towards that position. It was super difficult. They're on the outside of the circle now, though, with Nongshim, Red Force. I think that's Binny and Tizzy currently playing in a shack of their own, and likely Horror's going to struggle unless they can start finding picks on the outside of the circle over towards AX or Influence Rage.
Yeah, it's been good shots, but it's the fact that they're not really being fully able to convert off the back of it, with the cycling of those knocks being really just stalemated. Henry here, you get the POV from the man spamming over towards the side. Good split as well from the backside. Sleepy still gets the tag back in. That's an instantaneous shot onto Henry. And they really do just take him out instantly. Good read of the lay of the land as well. So Arian's trapped behind the vehicle. Bullets coming in from the side. 4-5 still trying to keep themselves involved in these encounters and snatch points where they can.
Slarek tried to edge his way down towards 4-5, but was immediately shut down there. Henry, I think, was on 12 bullets left in the next magazine, so wasn't a lot at all. That's 3 loot crates, by the way, that I can see on the map there. And those could comfortably create some cover, but the speed at which Horror's going to have to set up this flying V is going to have to be very, very quick. Horror sends out, though, and no one's currently taking shots. Binny and Tizzy are currently encapsulated in smoke. One goes down, but it will be Arian to go down next. And Horror efficiently gets themselves over there, but can they get their player back up again?
4-5's been doing what they've been doing for so long here as well. The minute there's an opportunity set up by someone else, that's when they capitalize from it. So AX open up the fight. You see the weakness there on Horror. They come in for the sideline sweep, get some damage in. Nonshin Red Force as well, finding an opportunity to get one shot in from the back, and that's all they really needed. It's fragmented the squad. They go down from having 4 members looking really clean to just 2 isolated split on them.
I think it's good, though. Honestly, if I'm fully analyzing this, Horror makes a sacrifice and it pays off for them. Yes, they lose 2 players, but given that moment, it gave time for both No Fear and Sky to get further into the circle. Such an important moment for them where it actually could have gone really, really wrong. And that's what you want from teammates. Teammates who are ready to make the ultimate sacrifice for you in-game to allow you to get a little bit further, a little bit more points on board. Beautiful stuff.
That's what I mean, the lack of ego. You see it there. Everyone's playing for the big picture. They're not worried about the stats. They're worried about the placements. They're worried about how it results overall for their tournament run. That's a brilliant way to think about it. You've got the late backstab potentially from Influence Rage. I mean, that's Law, the solo member with Red Force trapped, living on borrowed time inside the hut. Near miss from the nades as well, dashing them towards them. 4 Thrives have been able to play on the back foot for quite some time, wait for everyone else to come towards them. Now they do have to advance somewhat. Horror, of course, with 2 players, like we said, still could have influence. The quick trades are made. 1 shot back over 4 Thrives, taking issues. Option go down. Farlak with the quick shot back over. That's No Fear out of action. Law still just belly crawling further forward. I mean, look at the split here. A chance for at least a sneak into that second place.
Oh, he had the 1 nade and the 1 Molotov, so could have actually efficiently cleared out 4 Thrives, but 12 eliminations, now looking for the 10 points. Bob's up just as he gets rest there, and that could have been absolutely treacherous for them. And now nade's getting sent over the top, and it's unbelievably placed. Coming through with 4 Thrives, taking them to a 24-point game.
Massive scenes.